All right, all right. Hey, everyone. This is Diamond Rivera, and we are back at it with the Live Discussions with Diamond podcast. And this episode is very, very special indeed. We have a guest coming back to the platform, but to talk about something very special. And before we get started, I hope everyone is having a wonderful week. We are almost at Friday, everyone. So get ready for the weekend. And today I have the pleasure of having a very special guest, a woman I've known for many years, and with her partnership with the one and only Luis Alberto. Now she has put herself in position of being an entrepreneur, and she now has a brand called Standing O Cosmetics. And again, I am pleased to announce that we have here, representing the West Coast, the one and only Jess Sheppard.
Hello, Diamond. Thank you
Hello,
for having me. I'm so
absolutely. I mean, of course. I mean, the first time we had it, it was you and Luis, but us talking as well throughout the months and year, realizing you've kind of now, in a sense, rebranded yourself, and you now have a line out there called Standing O Cosmetics. So again, congratulations.
thank you so much. I was telling you when I was backstage in the podcast that every time I see that video or any of the videos that we've done
Mhm.
that Creators Lab did for me, I can't even I just get excited all over again every time. So that was an awesome intro. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I mean, and definitely big shout out to Creators Lab. I mean, for me, that's one of my favorite media companies of all time. But to the way they put together that video with not just yourself, but many other dancers as well. But just the production of it was simplistic, but wholesome, and definitely was captivating. And again, big shouts out to Creators Lab. And right now as we get started, understanding we're in 2022, and I've seen many artists and dancers now really, as I say, kind of changing the game, rebranding, reinventing themselves. But for me to realize now you've created this cosmetic line that for me I felt was so needed within our dance world, because me and you have been to congresses and festivals backstages when people are putting on makeup, and sometimes it's just the regular Mac and the Sephora's, and then you get a little more top of the line. But actually having a line from a person that people can relate to, that people know, I think was definitely different. So kind of give myself an understanding and us an understanding of what came about in the creation of Standing O Cosmetics.
Well, it was a quarantine business for sure,
Hmm.
which I love because I feel like that's such a cool thing to come out of it. It's kind of like a good souvenir to a very bittersweet situation, which
Yeah.
the whole year was. So I love that I have that to stay with me. But it was so I have a short version and a long version, or one is like the
Hmm.
more real version, and the other one's like the fluffy version. So I'll picture of the two. So I got really into makeup during I think July 2020, because
Yes.
I had just gotten back from Atlanta. My grandfather had passed, and so I got
Hmm.
back from Atlanta, and I was self quarantining to be respectful to our roommates that we had at the time. And so I
Yeah.
just was in my room all day for like 12 days. And so I would just do a makeup look and take it off and do it again. I was just getting so into it, and I was finding so much peace in it, and just it was so much fun and so relaxing. And for
Hmm.
a long time, Luis and I had thought that we wanted to open a business that was vertically aligned with the dance community, with our
Yeah.
dance business. And it just kind of hit me that this is what I have been looking for. This is perfect to bring to the dance community. There's a market for it, certainly, like you said.
Hmm.
And I've always been a big supporter of what we can do to help women and their confidence in themselves. So it was
Yes.
really, really important to me, and especially as I move forward and I can do bigger projects and contribute more to the community, it's really important to me to focus on our Instagram and on our website. It says that we celebrate the ability behind the makeup, and it's really
Hmm.
important that we celebrate the dancers and the ability of the dancers or the performers, and I kind of say it's a little bit of a cheesy saying, but I like to think of the dancer as the cake and the makeup as the frosting. And no one wants a cake with your frosting, So there's got to be some substance, some talent behind it.
I mean, absolutely, but it's interesting that you even said kind of, that startup of it, because within our dance world, we have people that make shoes, we have people that make costumes, we have people that even do rhinestones.
Yeah.
But it's very rare, in my opinion, that I've seen from my experience of someone in the dance world stepping into the makeup world, because we also realize as a business, as a small business, it also involves money. It also involves expenses. It's a
Sure
lot of
does.
trial and error. But I think what helped was realizing what I loved, especially about this commercial, was that these are women that you know personally. These are people within your community that support. And then also realizing too, as we've talked as well, going from those initial stages back in even in 2020, then hitting into 2022, you actually got to really make this more public by actually going, I believe it was the Reno Latin Dance Fest. And
Yeah.
actually, how was that experience?
That was, I always tend to dive like head first into everything I do. So
Mhm.
that kind of works. It aligns with my life because the first Congress I went to as a brand, as a vendor, was arguably one of the most successful and largest, we'll say at least
Yeah.
largest congresses in the US. So I just like hit the ground running with that for sure. But I'm lucky that I've done a lot of vendor shows, both as a vendor and as a purchaser, as a shopper for
Mhm.
businesses I worked at before in marketing and promotional products.
Yes.
So I'm very used to being on both of those ends. So it was easy for me to transition to just doing it for my line. I mean, obviously, so much
Mm.
easier because I know my line. I love what I'm doing. I believe in it. So it was, the 8 hours at a booth because I was working like 8 hours.
Oof.
Um,
Oh.
and then also doing tech. I had a couple girls working for me, but I would work for long hours and then they would cover me so I could go do tech and then do the show. So that was, it's a lot, but it's definitely
Mhm.
fulfilling. And it's a lot easier to sit there for 8 hours when you love it versus when you're, working for someone else. So I built on the experience and made it better.
I mean, yeah. I mean, and also I think as well, you being an entrepreneur, because a lot of times with people with businesses, they always have people that work with them, and sometimes it's hard to know who the face of it is, who created it. But you putting yourself out there, saying, "Hey, I created something. I would love for you to support it, but I'm going to show you how this is." Because we know with makeup, and especially with the dance world, when it comes to makeup, people want to make sure that makeup is on point, because nothing is worse than you did your makeup backstage and when you get on the stage and before you break a sweat, it's already off. And I also got to say big shouts out to 420, because I'm loving that makeup you got on, that green. I
Thank
love that.
you. I did do it on purpose. I did celebrate a little bit today. I might celebrate a little bit later.
Look at you, look at you. And it's interesting too. We have to give a big shout out here to Carol Tatiana Maracas from Dances with Curves,
Yes,
showing some love as well. We got to give a big shout out all the way from Mexico, Miss Sade Montoya out there,
I
doing
love
amazing work.
her.
You know,
Yes.
and realizing too, like you said, going from really Reno Latin Dance Fest, getting that experience, what was it like for you, that first, I would say, even purchase, because I think a lot of people who are business owners, it's always sometimes those first initial purchases that kind of give you that feeling like, oh, this is serious. Like, did you kind of have a feeling when you made that first sale, that first purchase,
Yeah, that is a really good question because it continually happens that I feel like, oh, I'm really doing this. It happens all the time. But for sure, when I got
Mhm.
my first shipment in, um, um, yeah, seeing like boxes and boxes of this product that I had created, that I had put so much creative thought into, and just like staring at me from all these boxes was wild for sure.
Mhm.
Um, but I would say that I still have those moments. Like, you know, when we started the podcast, like I said, as soon as I saw that video, I was like, oh my God, like
Yeah.
this is being interviewed. I created this. I posted something on my Instagram the other day about trying to remind ourselves, or, you know, myself in particular, of the good that we do, because we're often so worried about just getting the things done we have to do, make it happen, that we forget that at the end of the day, we're the ones making it happen. And that's like crazy, you know, like I
Mhm.
feel like to give myself more props for like doing it, because I get in this mode where just go, 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 go. And I don't sit back and like look at, you know, the big picture.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of a whirlwind, because when you're now the face of it, and people are just maybe asking you tons of questions and wanting to know what's happening, compared to being the consumer, that's a whole different phase. And but like you said, kind of you stepping really right into it at Reno. Then after Reno, kind of what was the focus afterwards?
After Reno? It's a good question. So before every event, it's very event specific. So I think that I took what I learned there and I kind of made a plan on how I can utilize that in different on different levels for different events. But my
Mhm.
biggest focus after Reno has been getting into, rather I should say after the Latin dance market, is that I've recently gotten into the kids competition market. And
Mm.
that is going very well, and it has a lot of promise. So I was fortunate enough to get a job with a dance competition called Ovation Dance Challenge. And I got
Yes.
a shout out. Speaking of, as you said earlier, women that you know in your community, in your pod who support you, I've got to shout out Jennifer Silvas, helped me.
Yes.
She suggested me for this position. So I've been working at this competition, and then as I'm working for them alongside of that, I'm also selling standing O, and I'm meeting studio owners, and I'm coming, you know, getting contracts with them, and it's a great market. So that's
I
been
mean,
my for the last
I mean,
several weeks. I've been out of town. I just had the last 2 weeks off, but I think
mhm.
the 6 or 7 weeks prior to that, I fly out on Thursday. Like I fly out tomorrow, fly out on Thursday,
Yeah.
come back Monday. So I'm really only in town Tuesday and Wednesday for 6, 7 weeks.
Wow.
Got 3 more weeks to go, and then I'll have my summer. But I am getting a lot of traction there, so it's a great opportunity.
And honestly, I would say that's a really smart decision and kind of transition, because again, you kind of being in the Latin dance world, which is more adult, which is understandable, but then hopping into the kids section, I think is even great, because again, we realize in these dance competitions that a lot of girls wear makeup. And most of the times they're just trying to get whatever they can, but actually a makeup line coming from a person like them, a fellow dancer, I think is a kind of an added sense of, familiarity,
Mhm.
being a little more relatable. So for many people who may not know, with Standing Out Cosmetics, mainly a lot of people's questions would be, what is the price line or price range? How
Mhm.
how would you present that mainly to people?
That's a really good question, because I went back and forth on what my price range was going to be for a while. And
Mhm.
what I landed on, because you always have essentially two or three decisions when you're pricing something. It can be let's break it down easy. It can be your thrift store or your Walmart, it can be your Target, or it can be your Nordstrom's, right? And
Mhm.
so I always feel that the best thing to do is just build on my own experience. And my
Yes.
personal experience has always been Target and Walmart prices,
Mm.
because I didn't live a life at Nordstrom's. That's just never been my
Yeah.
experience. Because I always wanted to feel like included, like economically, like feel like I can also afford
Absolutely.
certain things. I wanted to do the same thing for my line, and it just seemed to make the most sense to reflect my experience and how I priced. So my pricing is what I like to call dancer friendly.
Mhm.
So I have my most expensive item is $26 palette, eyeshadow palette, the performance
Mhm.
palette. And then I, of course, sell kits. And then, the prices go up with kits. But I just want it to be something that every dancer could experience. And I wanted, and the makeup is very high quality, long lasting. And I think that Standing O also brings value in the fact that it wants to be used by the community, and it's accessible to the community. So that was really important to me when I created the price structure.
Absolutely. I mean, I love that, especially because, many people understand. I think what happens with society, especially when it comes to prices on anything, people always kind of gauge, they see a price range and they say, oh, this might be the quality. But no, a lot of times it's really the manufacturer. If they want to cater to people and an audience, hey, it's okay to put this at a reasonable price range, but still have premium quality. And,
Yeah.
of course, we know as dancers, when it comes to makeup, word travels fast and people are like, hey, is this a hit or miss? And I've been seeing already people telling me personally, it's been a hit. And I love seeing that. So, for you now, my kind of question to you is, now putting your brand out there more and more, not just as a dancer or instructor, but now as an entrepreneur with this line, what are some of the questions when you're at these events that people just ask you? Is it kind of generic questions, or do you get some like just really random questions sometimes?
As an entrepreneur,
Yes.
well, one question, girl, you've made your bed. She begged to get it now, and now she wants to leave. This is not the time, girlfriend. Sorry, she's so distracting. Now she's like trying to escape herself. Let me just let her out real quick. Girl, that is very rude. Get. The biggest question that I get is a lot of people get confused in the beginning and they think that it's like, I don't know if this is like a faux pas word to use, but like an MLM, or they're wondering if it's like my
Oh my God. Yes. I know what you mean.
But no, it's mine. It's all mine. But that's the biggest question. And so I've been trying to really I've been trying to repeat the phrase created and operated by Jess Sheppard in a lot of my marketing and my language so that it's more clear. It just ties the two together. But I get a lot of questions about, that's such a good question, because a lot of people will ask me straight up the last my show. Like they ask me exactly what it is they need. Does it last a long time? And, my thought is, of course it does last a long time. That's the whole thing. That's what we need. Like the number one thing we need. But I guess people just want that reassurance, which I'm happy to give them. But everything we have is long lasting. That's a funny thing. I said we. I bet you find a lot of business owners do that. It's just me, but I always say we.
I mean, hey, because it really takes, I would say because it not just takes the product producer, but it takes the consumer to believe in it. And it's interesting, like you said, the long or the lasting coverage, because we have a question here by Danny Diaz, all the way from the Florida area, saying, so your makeup provides long coverage, but how does it affect the skin long term?
That is a really good question, because let me tell you, it was Danny, right?
Yes.
Because she wants to come in again. Oh, it's Luis.
Mr. Luis. Hey, Luis.
He doesn't have his makeup on, so he can't stay.
I know. I was waiting for that.
So I wear makeup a lot. Like I said, I'm traveling 6 to 7 weeks in a row with Ovation Dance Challenge. So I, of course, wear full stage makeup Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every single weekend. And then on my weeks off, when I wasn't there, I'm doing shows here. So again, wearing makeup like almost 3-4 days out of the week, full stage makeup. Or if I go to an event, I'm always wearing full stage makeup. So I find that my skin has maintained rather well. I don't see any differences based on, using the makeup. But I will say you have to just take care of your skin, period, to make sure that your skin is going to react well to cosmetics. So it really determines on how you remove it, making sure you remove it fully, making sure you moisturize, because these products do, they are unnatural items that we're putting on our face. So you do have to take care of your face accordingly, but I never have any problems with my skin.
That's great. I mean, because I tell you this, that is a big thing. Is many people ask that question, but when you said that, I had the same sentiment as of course, you have makeup for a purpose, but after the makeup, it is about skincare because again, everybody's skin is different. Some people have much more sensitive skin. Some people take makeup very well. So it really also depends on the person. But I definitely love that you were able to answer that question. And now it kind of leads us into realizing now, as we talked, the Dallas Bachata Festival is coming up September 29th to October 2nd. And you and Luis are heading back there. But what's even more special that I heard is that now Standing On Cosmetics will be there as well. But also you're providing a special treat. Can you tell us what that is?
Oh, I will. Standing O Cosmetics is presenting you guys with a sweet and sugary stage makeup workshop. I didn't even rehearse that, Diamond. I just came up with that.
It's the California in you. Even though you're from Atlanta, sorry, everyone. I'm seeing the California entertainment coming out of you as we speak.
Yeah, but I'm doing a stage makeup workshop. It is going to be, I've done one Congress. I did it LA Bachata Festival, but I've done many stage workshops across Southern California for different dance companies. So that's one of the ways that I work with dance companies. So it will be an hour. I think it's an hour and a half class. Okay. So and George is so smart. He planned it right at the end of the workshop, so there's no conflict. So everyone can come, and it's right before shows. So you can come do your makeup with me in the class. You'll learn full stage makeup, how to do your eyes, how to apply complexion, which is my favorite thing to do, how to apply lashes, and do your lip. So full stage makeup workshop, and I believe it's Saturday night.
Wow, even better. And that's interesting because I think that was a really smart tactic because then you can kind of go from the makeup there right into your showtime backstage getting ready. Because trust me, I know being backstage, the hassle many people have of just trying to put on makeup. I mean, when you need someone's makeup palette and kit, and it can be chaos at times. But that's awesome to see, and I hope more events and more festivals implement that because I think that right there is a game changer as well. So for many people, really, then in terms of that class, what can people expect when they come into a class like that?
What can they expect? How can they be prepared? I'll add that on too. What they expect is to walk away with at least a little bit of knowledge more or tools to do their own makeup better. They shouldn't expect to leave being a perfectionist, a perfect executioner of makeup or a professional makeup artist, but they'll at least have the tools where they can practice, which is just like a dance workshop. You have to take the tools, go home, apply them, and then over time you'll improve. And then what you can bring, I'm going to supply George with a list. I think there'll be a description somewhere on the website that has this list, but I provide in the workshop a palette, lips, lipstick, liner, lashes, and glue. It's my stage ready kit is what I call it. It has everything from Standing O in one kit, but there's other items you'll need to bring, foundation, concealer, and there should be a list of that in the description so everyone can know exactly what to bring to make sure they walk out with a full face of stage makeup.
Absolutely. And I would definitely say as well, this I believe is an inclusive event, male, female, whatever you identify with. I mean, I definitely say people can learn so much because, hey, when it comes to makeup, that's one field that in any entertainment industry will always be needed. And that's something I love to see. And especially someone I know creating a brand. And lastly, before we kind of end on things, let's show a quick clip of what people can expect at this year's Dallas Bachata Festival 2022. And after this, we'll come to our conclusion, but we'll have some fun questions at the end.
Lately, I've been thinking I want want you to be happier. I want you to be happier. When the morning comes and we see what we've become. In the cold light of day, we're a flame in the wind, not the fire that we begun. Every argument, every word we can't take back. Cause with all that has happened, I think that we both know the way that the story ends. Then only for a minute, I want to change my mind. Cause this just don't feel right to me. I wanna raise your spirits, I want to see you smile. But no, that means I'll have to leave. I've been thinking, I want you to be happier. I want you to be happier. Even though I might not like it, I think that you'll be happier. I want you to be happier.
All right, man. That was an amazing video. And honestly, I definitely can't wait to see your makeup class. Trust me, I will be highlighting that and definitely capturing some visuals on that. Um, but I think now what it gives us is I actually have a few questions for you before we do go that I've kind of put in my head and put here during our talk today. So all I need to know, Jess, is when you are ready.
I'm ready. You're breaking up just a teeny bit.
Okay.
Um,
Are you able to hear me now?
yes. Yeah, that's better.
Perfect. All right. Our first question here is, what is your favorite shade of color?
Oh, my favorite shade? Well, I'll tell you my favorite color and then I'll tell you my favorite shade in the performance
Hmm.
palette in case that's what you were asking. My
Yes.
favorite, let's see, I've always loved green, like a natural, like a dark green, army
Hmm.
green, similar to what I'm wearing. Um,
Yes.
but I'm really into like creams. Like our whole apartment is like cream, beige, tan, nude,
Hmm.
like very calming. My favorite shade in the performance palette
Hmm.
is probably center stage. It's a beautiful, like lavender color.
I like that. I like that. I like the army green and then the lavender. I love that. All right. Next question is, of course, we know you deal with makeup, but we also know as a performer, one thing is truly important besides a costume is the shoes. So can you give me your favorite shoe brand?
My favorite shoe brand. I think it depends on what you need. I love a lot of different shoe brands. One that I wear often for performance is the Yami ProFlex. I really
Mm,
love the Yami ProFlex. They're very flexible from like the moment you get them. You can really point all the way through. I also really love G Franco shoes. I have a lot of their social dancing shoes. Both of those are great options, I think.
okay, perfect. All right, our next question here, and realizing now you're really putting your brand out there from Reno, from the LA Bachata Festival, and as well as many of events you're going to, as well as Dallas Bachata Festival. But can you give me one event that you would love to have Standing O be at? Maybe it's just in the future.
Oh my gosh, one event I would love to be at. I would love to go to, I would love it to be at San Francisco, Salsa Bachata
Mm,
Congress. And I also have to say, because I'm from Atlanta, I would love, love, love to bring Standing O to the Atlanta Salsa Bachata Festival because that's my home. So I would love to, show the community what I've created. That would be so cool.
Awesome, awesome. All right, our next question, second to last question is, can you give me one celebrity you would love to see wearing Standing O?
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I've already seen a celebrity wearing it. Okay, let me tell you, because we have our own celebrity, Emily Alabi.
Yes.
Emily, she I think is a celebrity personally, and
Oh,
she has,
absolutely.
but who would I love to see? I have it, Dolly Parton. Done.
Ooh, okay. Jolene, come
I
on.
love it. And
Oh my
her
God.
and my lashes, she would be beautiful in the Shanae lashes. Maybe I
Okay.
should send her some.
Hey, put it into the universe and you never know. All right. This now brings us to our last question and seeing kind of the entrepreneur in you, but the joy that you have actually working in the makeup line. And like you said, it kind of really started full steam ahead around July 2020. For you now, what advice could you give for makeup artists?
For makeup artists, I probably couldn't give much advice to makeup artists because I'm not a certified makeup artist yet. But
Yes.
what advice could I give to budding entrepreneurs?
Yes, absolutely. Even people that maybe want to get into the makeup field itself.
Yeah, and you know what? I will give the same advice, whether you want to be a makeup artist or a dancer or whatever it is. What I've realized in this process is the hardest thing to do is to believe that you can do, like, believe in yourself. That sounds cheesy, but to believe that you can do it and to just take that first step. And the first step is just deciding that you're going to do it. And that is what I would say. Any advice I would give would be to get over that hurdle and know that nothing is going to be as hard as deciding that you're going to do something so potentially life-changing.
That is definitely special. And again, thank you for doing this segment. I always do it with every one of my guests. And honestly, again, to have the opportunity to bring you back on and also share your success currently, not just as a instructor, but I see that you also have a team that you just came out with. So definitely want to congratulate you on that. But also with this makeup line, honestly, I see so much success ahead because listen, we know in this dance world, whether it's the kids field or it's the adult field, makeup is a necessity. And just seeing how now you're growing and growing, I'm loving it. Just to see, especially a female entrepreneur doing it. Because listen, even as a male, I think there are too many. This industry can be male dominated, and it's amazing to see more and more women pushing through, growing, and becoming success stories. So, at least before we do go, Jess, I'd love to know if you had any last few words, but also contact info on how people can reach you and find Standing O.
Contact info. So you can find me on Instagram and Facebook, Jess Sheppard, or you can find Standing O Cosmetics on Instagram and on Facebook. I can comment on this live after with that information.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, it's been a real pleasure having you on. I definitely look forward to seeing where Standing O is even a year from now, because I definitely see you a year or two from now, even beforehand, like events calling you and saying, hey, we need this, because again, it's a win-win when, promoters and organizers are working with small businesses like yours. I think it's a win-win because it gives joy to people who come to these events. That, trust me, for those who are just learning about makeup and understanding, and like you said, even providing classes like that, I think it's great work to see. And it's been a pleasure having you on. I know you're out there in the California area. I hope everything is going well with you and your family out there, and definitely look forward to seeing more of Standing O Cosmetics. And for everyone who's tuned in, thank you guys again. Check out Standing O Cosmetics. Please, more info will be shared after this live. And guys, we will see you this Friday with another special episode of the Live Discussions with Diamond podcast. I'm Diamond, here with the one and only Jess Sheppard from Standing O Cosmetics. Thank you guys for tuning in. Stay safe. See you Friday.